what I thought you said.
You gonna regret it? I said I knew you were gonna regret getting her to do that, but she's gonna put something together.
Yeah.
No, I'm happy to hear
No,
that.
that would be good.
I'm happy to hear that.
Because I'm joking.
Because our preacher does not put out there how great his voice is. Yeah, you.
Just set up point.
Just saying.
Well, I think we didn't put out there how pretty a voice or piano style.
She does have a beautiful voice.
Y'all both do. God gave y'all a voice. I wish you gave me one.
Yeah, our mother made sure we sang because she couldn't carry a tune in her bucket, although she thought she could.
She tried.
She did try. She loved to sing, but she was not very good. But she loved to. She loved to praise the Lord in a lot of ways. And that
The
was one of
first
the
thing I thought of, she passed, is like she's singing on key now.
That's right. You can
Happy
go
to
on.
have everyone here who's here. And I'm gonna stay with exactly what we're on. Why do things sometimes don't work out until we're older? Why is it? Who would have to make it?
I think sometimes, and this is not every time by any stretch of the imagination, but sometimes we have to be older to either appreciate it or to handle it.
Okay.
Like coming into money.
That's,
You know, kids want to say, I'm gonna get rich doing video games. No, you're gonna get rich because God knows what you do with that money.
that's,
I think there's a maturity level to be able to know what you want. Too, that comes with age.
Or not just what you want, but what you think God would want for you
that's,
versus maybe, just everything we spend around that we want.
now I'm going to.
Sometimes it's because when you're younger, you don't have the patience to do what you're supposed to be doing.
He broke it.
That's a good one, that's true. You know, the patience to.
Okay. Now I'm going to ask this. Why is it so important that as we grow in age, hey, we still toil, and we achieve and reach? Why is that so important? Him. Hey, that class. He's 77 years old, and I'm wrong. I said 76, but he's 77 years old. What possessed him? I say it like this. What possessed him to attempt that? Let's hear from him. Why did you do it?
Because I saw how short-handed him the service was, and I asked what I could do to help.
Gotcha.
That's where it started.
Gotcha. How many folks his age would feel like that?
Very few. Because it's considering he was one of 11 that started, and he was the only one in his age bracket, I would say.
But he said something here as he talked about, like he wanted to see where he could help, where he could make a difference. He could make a difference in somebody else's life. I heard him say how she took those singing lessons from somebody who was way up in New York who wound up in their hometown. And I heard her say that it's finally paying off. Some things were not meant to pay off when you were younger. Me, I heard him say something today, and I was happy he said it. Why didn't the Lord send me to preach when I was a young man? Why didn't he? She says I wasn't ready. She right. But it may
You
have
kept
just
running.
been, huh?
You kept
Yeah,
running.
That's true too. But it may have just been that he didn't want it to work out. He may have had a plan for it to happen now.
Well, because maybe, he wasn't living here when the Lord started that thing, and he needed to be here preaching. It wasn't just that he needed to be preaching, but he needed to be here preaching.
Gotcha. And as I went from church to church, I was given and there was folks who said, what you ought to speak, but no, I wasn't ready. But let me say this. It doesn't matter why, but let me say this. Hey, the Lord, he does what he does on his own time. I don't know why he does what he does. But let me say this. I'm happy he does what he does. But here is my point, and here's where I'm going. As I talked about as I spoke on the pastor this morning. Well, I'll just stop and ask this. How old are we when we are too old? Hey, to be used by Christ. Like what you see. When we're gone, when we're no longer here, that's the only time we are too old. That's the only time we are too old. Here's what's happening. There are so many folks who have just quit. They gave up. I didn't do it when I was 18. I didn't do it when I was 19. I didn't do it when I was 20. I didn't do it when I was... So I'm too old now. I'm tired. But here's where I'm going. Here's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing some folks now who are seeing me out there, not just me, they're seeing you. And they're saying if Cheryl can sing at her age, I can't sing. I'm not talking about her age. If she can be an EMT at her age, but I'm not through. I'm not done. If she can be an EMT, instructor at her age, I can too. If she can head back to school at her age, I can too. If he can do what he's doing at his age, I can too. If you can do what you're doing at your age, I can do. I found out something. This week I'm in the top 1% of the United States. Makes me rare, right? That makes me feel good. But for what? Because I stutter. It's not a good thing, is it? And then I tried to find out how many people who actually started preaching, and I couldn't find it. But here's where I'm going. My point is this. Huh?
There's one man that's famous for it, but I don't remember his name right now.
Well, here's my point. Here's my point. Hey, the Lord has a plan for us if we'll humble ourselves. And sometimes he wants it to happen when we're older. Why? Because there's some folks he wants us to reach. I'm seeing now as some folks are seeing me preach or seeing me do what I'm doing, what they're saying. If he can do it, I can too at his age. At his age. That's powerful. Hey, that is so important in times like this, in the times that we are now in. A whole lot of folks are fixing to have to do some things over. There are a whole lot of folks are fixing to have to, go back to school. We're going to swap jobs. They got to do this. They got to do this. Why? Because the world has changed. The world has changed. But here's what happens once they look at, here's where I'm going. I'm so happy he took that class. Why am I so happy he took that class? It's going to be a point he's going to be gone. For years and years after he's gone, there will be folks in his family who are going to say, my grandpa was 77 when he got through EMT school. I can still do it. Isn't that, that means something. That's powerful. Now, where am I going with that? There are so many folks now who do not believe it. But here's what the Lord does. He restores. He restores to some things. And there are sometimes he takes folks like me that I've destroyed some things. It didn't work out the way I had it planned, but here's what he does. He steps up sometimes and he decides, okay, Darryl, I'll let you try everything that you know how to do. Didn't work. So now if you'll let me take control, if you'll let me do what I'm wanting to do. The whole world has saw you. They saw you make a mess of it. And I did. I made a mess of it. But he says, hey, let me show them what I can do. Let me show them the things I can restore, these things I can fix. Let me use you to show other people what I can do. That's why we're here, to humble ourselves and allow ourselves to be used by Christ to impact the lives of others. Sometimes there's folks like me that, and I like what he said. We run and we try this and we want to do this, we want to do it our way. But sometimes he has a plan and he's not going to let it happen until we humble ourselves and allow him to take control. If we allow him to take control, it's going to work out how he wants to work out. As you had to leave this morning, I sat back and I heard your voice so pretty, so clear, so calm. As she left, now, I don't know why you left my hand. I had to leave. But it was an opportunity for me to sit back there and enjoy the voice. Because why? She was out there by herself for a while. She had to swim alone, and I was able to enjoy it. I was able to enjoy her voice.
And you know, that is actually, Richard, this is a good point, because my thought was, let's just do the preaching. That was what I, wanted, Cheryl wanted to do.
Gotcha.
But they're like, you know what, we can sing.
Gotcha. And it worked out perfectly. I sat back there and I enjoyed her voice. It was so clear, it was so clear. And you have a very pretty voice. But see, here's what happens at times. Hey, we have our own ideas. And Cheryl, and I'm happy Cheryl just said what she said in her mind. We just go ahead and go preaching, just go. But we didn't. We gave her an opportunity, and we were blessed for it. Here's where I'm going. The Lord works in mysterious ways. Works through us. If we allow him to use our lives, he can make huge impacts. He will make impacts that we don't have a clue. Here's what has happened in our lives. Here's how I see it. Here's how hey, I see it. Here's how, see, this is how you see, this is how you see, this is how you see, you. But here's how the Lord sees. He sees everything. He sees those things that we don't see. But here's what happened. I only see these small things, and I've got my mind on this. But it's not what I see, it's what he sees. We are a part of whose plan? His plan. But here's what happened with us. What we are so focused on our plan. Here's what it says in the Bible. If you seek the kingdom of heaven first, then what's going to happen? All else will be what? Added unto it. If we will humble ourselves to these things that he has placed in our hearts, they can work out. They said oftentimes we're not ready for these things to work out. He knows it. So, Darrell, I'm not going to let you preach yet because you're going to get in trouble. You're not ready. Why? Because you haven't humbled yourself. You haven't surrendered yourself. You're not ready to preach. But when he got ready for me to preach, he fixed it so I could. Cheryl, and this morning, as you say, opportunities. He's going to give us these opportunities. But we have to step forward and seize these opportunities. But here's what I want to share with you tonight. Just what she said. You are never too old to be used by the Lord. I don't care if you're 50. I don't care if you're 60. I don't care if you're 70. I don't care if you're 77. He showed us. You're never too old to be used by the Lord. You'll just humble yourself. Here's what I'm going to speak on just briefly about some bones in here in the book of Ezekiel. Some dry bones. I heard it say, even up until death, then was done. But in here in the Bible, it speaks in the book of Ezekiel. I've been ready to give this sermon for quite some time, but I couldn't until he got through school. The Lord wouldn't let me do it. Not until he got through this book. I heard her say, when we're done. In the Bible, in the book of Ezekiel, in chapter 37, it speaks about how the Lord had man to prophesy to dry bones. What are dry bones? What can they be used for? What are they good for? Not anything at all. Yeah, and I know some people say they make flint knives and different things. But here's my point. When dry bones are dry, it's done, right? There's no hope there, right? There isn't anything there. It's gone. But in the book of Ezekiel, he talks about how he had man to prophesy to dry bones, and they came back to life. Now here's where I'm going with that. If the Lord can use some dry bones. How old are you? You're not that old now, right? We're not that old, right? And I don't care what's happening in your life. It doesn't matter what you're going through. You are still here. You can be used by Christ. No matter what your situation is. If you'll humble yourself. Here's my message this afternoon. He's a powerful God. He's an all-powerful God. He has a plan for my life. He has a plan for your life.